Good afternoon and welcome to the Commentary Up's coverage of the FA Cup first round clash between Torquay United and Derby County. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon, and joining me today are your match commentary team of John Stuttard and Luke Turton. We're going to speak to Luke now, in fact, as we wait for the teams to come out of the tunnel, which I can see on my monitor they'll be doing very, very shortly. And Luke, it should be a good game, this one. Hopefully a cracking match as well. How do you see this game unfolding, and who do you think will come out on top in this one, Luke?
I mean, you'd like to say that with Derby being above Torquay in the pyramid, that Derby might edge this one, but you never know with the underdogs, and Torquay could pull off an upset. So let's just see.
Yes, let's just see. Indeed, Luke, we've already had one upset today in the one of the earlier games in the FA Cup, which saw Wrexham knock out Oldham by 3 goals to nil. Half time is Cousin Ashton nil, Cambridge United nil. Working against Oxford was postponed earlier today in the FA Cup due to a waterlogged pitch. We await the arrangement of the new date for that one. In the Premier League, early on, it finished Chelsea nil, Arsenal 1. Half time, 3 games kicked off at 2 and all at half time. Unai Emery's Aston Villa are 2-1 up against Manchester United. Southampton trail by a goal-to-nil against Newcastle. And the game between West Ham United and Crystal Palace is locked at 1 apiece. There's also a game in the Premier League 2, which is a couple of results that have finished. Arsenal 3, Everton 1 in the under-21s. Blackburn 1, Brighton 2 also in the under-21s. And at half-time in the under-21s, Liverpool 2, Fulham 0. In the WSL, I'll just quickly run you through these 3 half-time scores. Leicester 0, Arsenal 3, Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 0, and Manchester City 0, and their way to Reading, and that's also 0-0 in that one. So then, with the teams out on the field of play, ready for kick-off in what should be a cracking FA Cup first round tie, it's time for me to hand over to your match committee team of Luke Turton. But first, John JB Stuttard. JB, it's all yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Russ. Good afternoon, everybody. And I just want to say before we start the commentary, thank you to everybody at the TCO who wished me well over my recent operation. I'm pleased to report on I'm walking around fantastically well, and I managed to get out and about a couple of days ago. So I'm recovering very well and well enough to commentate on a really tasty first round tie. Derby County in this round for the first time since 1985 go down to the land of Torquay, home of Faulty Towers and all that jazz. The English Riviera, they call it down here. Well, it's going to be a tough place for them now. Derby County, of course, now managed by former Rotherham manager Paul Warne. As the teams are now out here on the field at Playmore. It's a very, very sunny but very chilly afternoon here down by the South Coast, right in the Cornwall sunshine. Of course, this part of world famous for Plymouth for things like Doc Martin and stuff like that on the telly. But there's a real sense of an atmosphere here at Playmore. Torquay used to be one of the leading lights of the lower ends of the Football League, but they've lost their way in recent years and now sit 24th sadly in the National League. What a real come down from those heady days. Right, well, before the game starts, of course, we are paying our respects to all the people that have died in conflict, because it is Remembrance Sunday this time next week. And also, well, there will be the silence as well to Ronnie Radford, who scored one of the greatest FA Cup goals of all time, who sadly died in the week. So let's just pause for a moment to reflect all that. Yes, well performed. I know he was a bit nervous, the trumpeter there, doing the last post and all that, but it's a very nervous bit when you've got millions at home watching on television as well. You've got a big crowd. It's very nerve-wracking, so I think we can forgive him for that. So I'll run you through the teams when we've kicked off and get a break in play, but I can tell you that Torquay are in white, yellow shirts with blue shorts and yellow stockings. That I can tell you. And all the players, all the shirts will be auctioned off because they've all got poppies on them. Derby in their chain shirts of what looks like claret to me. So let's look at the two teams. Well, we're going to look at the two teams, but it looks as if they're going to kick off anyway. Referee David Rock from Hertfordshire, and I will run you through the teams as soon as we kick off here. I've got Luke Turton, and I will bring him in a second. And as a Nottingham Forest supporter, I think we can see if we say who he wants to win today. So we're all set to go then. As the sun beats down, but of course in about 45 minutes' time, day will turn to dusk, and we'll have a proper cup tie atmosphere. Lapsy number 4, the captain of Torquay to get us underway. It's a bit of a delay there. Davy Rocks, the referee, as I said, from Hertfordshire. His two assistants are then Richard Morris and Mark Derrian. Lee Swab is the 4th official, and we're underway then. Torquay attacking the goal to our right-hand side here. And an early shot there, but the referees had already blown for a free kick and a free kick to Derby. So let me bring you the Torquay 11, starting with Mark Halstead in goal. Then it's Tom Lapley, Asa Hall, Darren Jarvis, Stephen Wayne, Sean Dunmelton, Will Goodwin, Dean Moxey, formerly of Derby, Lucas Ness, Dylan De Silva, and Mark Ellis. For Derby County, who have a free kick to be taken by their goalkeeper, Joel Wildsmith, Craig Forsyth, Aaron Cashin, Max Bird, the captain, James Collins, the top scorer with 5, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, Corey Smith, Hayden Roberts, Lewis Sibley, Lewis Doblin, and Will Usura. I'll bring you the two benches as we go along. And already an early free kick there, a foul there by Cashin on Goodwin. And let me bring Luke Turton in, and it's the first time I've done a two-way call comms with you, Luke. Although we haven't worked together with you before on your channel. How do you think this will go today? And be dispassionate, despite the fact that you're a Nottingham Forest supporter.
I mean, let's put that aside, JB, because I mean, I'm not really fussed on the FA Cup anyway. So if Derby go and win, fair play. It seems to have started fairly physical for both sides. I think the ref probably could have let one or two things go early on, but then again, we all know how the officiating's going this week.
Yes, we won't talk about what happened to Nottingham Forest yesterday. Needless to say that the penalty that was given against you wasn't. I just want to make that permanently clear. But I'm sure over given time. I mean, my team had a few dodgy decisions go against us at Sheffield United. But these things, they tend to say, well, even themselves out. Anyway, back to today, and it's Joe Wildsmith, formerly Sheffield Wednesday, believe it or not, with the kick down the field, right-footed, header one there. There's number 9 there, Darren Jarvis, who's got 4 goals. He's the top scorer with 4, along with Will Goodwin. So they'll be looking to try and cause 1 or 2 problems. It's been a difficult start for Torquay, as I say, rock bottom of the National League. Derby County having to just rely for being relegated last year, of course, from the Championship. They had all them problems with Mel Morris before that. They had Wayne Rooney in charge this time last season, and then he left. And then Liam Rossini came in, and now Paul Warren has been recruited from Rotherham United, which didn't go down too well with our presenter this afternoon. But there we go. So just to remind you, just to re-familiarise yourself, Halstead in goal for Torquay. Donnell, Ness, Ellis and Moxie, they're the back 4 today, just to let you know where they're playing. De Silva, Hall, Lapsy and Wen are the midfield 4. So it looks as if it's going to be 4-4-2 with Jarvis and Goodwin, the 2 top scorers up front. So that's their lineup. So it's a 4-4-2. Derby County with Wildsmith in goal. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. Smith, Cashing, Forsyth from Roberts, the back 4. Mendes-Lang, Sibley, Bird, the captain, and Dobbin. As Derby County make their way in with an early opportunity, and it's over the top. And Collins and Azula up front. So both teams matching each other in formation, Luke, 4-4-2.
Yeah, I think Derby have probably looked at what Torquay will play and thought, well, we'll stick the side out to match them up. And that early chance, I think Dobbin just leaned underneath it as he went to shoot then. So he just went over the bar. But if he kept himself over the top of it, he might have got it into the corner.
Yeah, so I would agree with you there, Luke. I mean, it was an half chance maybe for Lewis Dobbin in all fairness to him. There's a foul again. David Rock not letting anything go at this early stage, as Luke was referring to earlier on at the top of the game. Verne has been brought down there by the captain of Derby County these days, Max Bird. Nearly a decade ago, when Derby were fighting to get into the Premier League under Steve McLaren, but were pipped to the post by Leicester City and Burnley, and then missed out in the playoff final to QPR in 2014. From then on, and they haven't really recovered too much. They had that one season when they got to the playoff finals under Frank Lampard in his one season there, and then from then on in, it's all dissolved really into chaos at what they used to call the Pride Park Stadium as well. But it's of course another club that's been managed by the late great Brian Clough, as is Luke's club, Nottingham Forest. And I think Brian Clough would have mixed feelings with both his sides. Derby County not where he'd want to see them in the third tier, but Forest back in the top flight. 5 minutes gone. There's Gary Johnson now. He's been around the game a long time, most notably as Bristol City's manager. Had some good success down up at Ashton Gate, getting promoted several times. So he's been around the block. But even this one, he's probably beyond him. Of course, Lee Johnson is his son. He's in management these days. And there's Paul Warren, who did a remarkably great job at Rotherham United. He's got them several promotions. They've been a bit of a yo-yo club in his time there. But what he's done there, what he did there at the New York Stadium before he came to Pride Park was nothing short of a miracle. And he's got a big job on here to try and resurrect a club that 20 years ago was playing Premier League football. Oh, not even 15 years ago, when they were obviously relegated to the lowest ever points tally in 2007-8, as the ball comes to goalkeeper Mark Halstead. He's got his cap on today, and you'll need it because there's a low sun. It's not a high stadium. It's a very small ground playing ball. So it's a very small crowd. So the sun will get in their eyes a little bit. Mind you, it won't be bad for the opposite number, Walsmith, when he has to defend that end in the second half, because it'll be dark once the second half comes in. We're now into Greenwich Mean Time now, so we're into winter time, essentially. As Walsmith there gets the ball, he's had a lot of top second tier experience with Sheffield Wednesday. And he kicks away from the ground. 6 minutes gone on the TCM on all platforms, including JB Sports, Storm FM, TCM YouTube channel, and TCM2. We're also live on Twitch, myself and Luke Turton. And it's nice to have Luke alongside me down by the English Riviera. Nice to have a big company in the com box, isn't it? And there's David Rock there, just making sure that the throw is taken correctly, or it's given to the correct side. And it's Derby County with the throw on halfway. 7 gone here. FA Cup first round action earlier today. Russ referred to it as a shock. I didn't see it much as a shock, to be perfectly honest. I expected Wrexham to win that game against Oldham. Oldham really struggling at the moment in the National League. Wrexham flying towards the top of the National League. They were just too good for Oldham. And it looked, to be fair, it looked a bit of a foregone conclusion. They beat Oldham 3-0 as they carry it forward with Jarvis, the joint top scorer. And I think he's won his team a corner. Max Bird careering into the advertising boards. And Torquay now in this opening few moments created 1 or 2 set plays. Now this will have to be their ML today. I'll bring Luke in after we've had this corner. Even the advertising boards have taken a bit of a splattering of mud. There's quite a lot of mud about. We've had a bit of rain as well in the local area as well. So number 12 here, Smith, will take the corner. Or Wayne Roberts will take the corner, towards the back post. Header one. But it falls for a Derby head, but here come Torquay again. And number 27 has the ball, De Silva. De Silva's crossed into the penalty area and knocked away. But in the first 8 minutes, Luke, you've got to give the credit to Torquay. They've started reasonably well. And of course, Derby 1 or 2 problems.
Yeah, I think that Torquay are definitely more used to playing on this size of pitch than Derby are. I think they're struggling a little bit. Balls going out of play, and I think the width of Torquay is making the pitch with not a lot of space, so they're struggling to play into the gaps. I'm sure once Torquay tire a little bit, Derby's quality might start to show, but at the minute it's just a bit of a kind of battle.
It's been a bit of a battle, but you're going to get that in the FA Cup, aiming at the early stages. Some cup ties you watch do tend to be a bit bitty to start with, and it is a bit physical, as Luke was referring to just then. Collins has been penalised there for a foul, although I didn't really see too much in it myself, but David Rocker for Hertfordshire was well on top of the situation. I do agree with you, Luke, in a lot of respects. I think David Rock, the referee, could have let one or two things go in his opening stages. But we've had 9 minutes gone, still no score. Just to remind you, if it does end a draw today, incidentally, there will be no extra time, no penalties. There will be a replay a week on Tuesday or Wednesday up at Prime Park if it was to end a draw this afternoon. Yes, we do have the replays back. We're looking at the hierarchy of Torquay United there. Not where the club want to be at the moment, but this is a good day for them, whatever happens, because they're going to be on TV across the country and potentially the world. So they're in front of a worldwide television audience this afternoon, and they'll be on, and they'll get a lot of money. And money is very, very short supply at the bottom end of the footballing spectrum these days. But here comes number 23, Ursula down the line. Down the left-hand side, Ursula breaks into the penalty area. There were three Dark went right into the penalty area, and in the end, there was enough yellow-shirted Torquay players back to get the ball away. But Derby haven't finished yet, because here's Mendes lying on this far side. He crosses in from the right-hand side. The ball's nodded away. And a good jump there by Cashin. And then the ball knocked over by Bird, the captain. Here's Mendes lying. There we go again. Mendes lying now, plays it in. Bird is there again. Well, he lined up the shot. He does left-footed, and and that, to be fair, Luke, to lose a cricket analogy, that went right out the ground over the stands and into the car park. Goal kick to Derby, goal kick to Torquay. 10 minutes gone.
Yeah, that was a very ambitious shot from Max Bird, but I think Torquay are frustrating Derby a bit because they're not letting them play. They're getting right into their faces, and that's what you expect from a lower team in the FA Cup, and Derby have to adapt to that fairly quickly.
Yeah, I've just seen Paul Warren there on my monitor. He's it's the day for the thermals, isn't it? He's got his poppy on his bobble hat. I believe you me, it's a beautiful hazy sunny afternoon, but I can tell you it is absolutely freezing. It is freezing cold out there, but it's a typical cup time thing. So mind you, won't be in Qatar in about a fortnight's time when the World Cup begins. I will be there from the start to bring you alternate commentary on the commentary hub. We'll have coverage of most of the 64 games coming up, including the games that matter involving England and Wales. Here's Mendes Light cutting in side, but then loses his balance, and then an opportunity here now for Sibley. Can't get it out of his feet. Mendes Light pushed off the ball fairly there and knocked away by Donnellan and out for a throw. But a little dodgy little moment there for Torquay as Derby and Mendes Light in particular look to try and run right down that right-hand side, Luke.
Yeah, Mendes Lang showed some good feet, but then just kind of lost his footing. Sibley couldn't get the ball out of his feet, like you said, and then it went back to Mendes Lang. He was just basically the size of him. He shouldn't really be getting out physical off the ball, but he did. So,
well, it's you have to say though, Torquay have been bang up for it in the opening 12 minutes, but Derby in the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes have really come into it a little bit now as the boys now with Mark Holstead. Still full time at Torquay these days. As I said, they were always in the. Oh, that's a bit of a high one there by Louis Sibley there, and it's got Tom Lapley in some discomfort now. I'm not sure whether that was accidental or whether that premeditated, Luke. But whatever the call David Rock makes, Lapley's in some discomfort. What's your view on that? That was a bit of a high foot, to be fair. But how did you interpret that?
on first viewing, I think it was high, but I think he was trying to get the ball. But I think it's these days you're gonna probably at least get a yellow card for that sort of I say tackle. He was going for the ball. Yeah, yellow
Well,
card.
yeah, well, a bit of telepathy going on between yourself there and referee David Rock. It was a yellow card. Just a 1 foot, maybe. Well, I'm not sure if you. Well, I don't think you could get off the ground that far 2-footed. If you did, though, that would be an instant red card. But yeah, it was a nasty charge, and he did catch the back of his head. And Lapsy wasn't faking it in any way, like some of the Premier League players tend to do these days. So Louis Sibley becomes the first recipient of a yellow card in this game with 14 minutes gone here on all TCO platforms. FA Cup first round. We've already brought you 2 games from the competition this weekend. Friday night when Hereford were beaten, and then yesterday when that terrific goal scored by Connor Wickham for Forest Green Rovers in that game up at South Shields. Portsmouth going through that other game on Friday night. We've got one more game to bring you with Nicholas Jones tomorrow night, and that's Bracknell Town. So he's not far from where he lives, actually. Bracknell Town against Ipswich Town. And that will be live for you around about 7:15, about 7:30, 7:45 kickoff. And we'll have news, of course, on the second round draw, which is taking place earlier that evening. So still not the end of the coverage here of the TCM of the FA Cup first round. And as I said, we'll have coverage. Luke will be with us. I'll be there. And we'll be bringing you the best of the flavour of the World Cup, where all 32 nations compete for the world's greatest prize in Qatar, as Torquay half-heartedly looked for a penalty there through Asa Hall, but it wasn't going to be. And out comes the goalkeeper as Zura came flying through there. And, well, that could have been it easily. Well, it was half-hearted shots for a penalty. And while Torquay were complaining, we'll keep it going again with Sibley. And that will be a goal kick to Torquay. But, well, Azua got in behind after Torquay were too busy looking for a penalty. Did he have a case, or was it? I think that's a clean tackle, actually, from Mendes line. But they got through at the other end and could have easily scored from it, though, Luke, couldn't they?
Yeah, it was never going to be a penalty. And then to get through, I think it's a little bit of a risky approach from the keeper there, but at least he managed to not mess it up.
Yeah, I think you had to take that chance. I think when you're the last line of defence, you have to come out and try and play the sweeper keeper routine, if you like. But it's
yeah, it just didn't look very confident though, JB, when he was doing it.
Well, that looked handball. That looked a clear handball by Donnellan as well. I've got to be honest with you there. I don't know whether the referee's giving it or not. Although he was pushed a bit there by Dobbin. But I think the referee has given Derby the decision. Anyway, we've had a quarter of an hour played. Well, we've had about 60.5 minutes played. So, yes, it is going to be very Sibley to take the free kick just on the left-hand touchline, almost in line with the 6-yard box of Torquay, essentially. Collins is forward, and the ball headed in there, but it's gone beyond everybody else. Mendes Lang will try and pick it up, and he gets around the defender, who slips down the right-hand side. Here's Mendes Lang, far side as we look. Still Mendes Lang, back to the edge of the area. Sibley shoots, and Sibley just has put that wide. A foot, half the ground foot had gone in the back of the net. It had careered against the stanchion at the back, and careered into the backside netting. And it remains Torquay 0, Derby County 0. We've had nearly 18 minutes gone. There's an effort again. Good effort there from Sibley there, Luke, wasn't it? Not a bad effort, to be fair.
Yeah, I think if he caught it properly, I think it'd have gone into the corner, but I think he just got under it a little bit and it curled just the other way to where he actually wanted it to go.
Yep, a free kick to Torquay whilst Luke was talking there. Mark Ellis has been fouled. An experienced professional. And again, well, it's been a very bitty sort of 18 minutes that have been played. David Rock, I think, in fairness to him, is trying to do his utmost to keep on the good on every situation. It's not going to be an easy game for either side. The conditions and everything else, the pitch. But the pitch looks in really good condition, even for a National League ground. As the boys step forward towards the Derby penalty area to my right side. Another header won, and it was a free header essentially won in there. And it was Collins, the top scorer, who got a header in, but it was sort of a half-hearted header. But concern again, Luke, about the Derby defending again, because you don't want to be giving Collins the freedom of the penalty area to get an opportunity to score there. Although he was leaning on the Derby County defender a bit.
Yeah, I think this approach is suiting Torquay because they want it to be bitty and they've put balls into the box because that's where they're going to get the most joy. And I think Derby want the game to flow and create chances. At the minute, there's not really the ball's not in play for more than 2 minutes at a time currently.
No, that's a good point you make. It has been quite a bitty sort of stop-start sort of first 19 minutes, but I have to try to be positive on these things, really, that if we get a sort of a bitty first half, the second half normally picks up. Is Den Allen with the throw then from the near side, right about 5 yards from his own quadrant, actually, essentially. The second ball is won there by Mendes Lang for Derby, midway inside the Torquay half. Here's number 15 now, Aidan Roberts. And Derby passing the ball around nicely. Here's Craig Forsyth. This Derby stalwart now for many, many years. Here's a chance now for Derby. Shot comes in from Asula, but it's straight down the throat of Holmstead. Derby starting to impose themselves in this opening 20 minutes now. It's taken them a while to get involved in this tie, but they're looking very much to business. Asula again tries to get Roberts down the line, but he can't be found. Lapsy comes across. 20 gone then. Here in the FA Cup first round. Just to reiterate some Premier League scores that have come in. I'll keep you up to date with the Premier League as well this afternoon because we've got a bundle of Premier League games as well. I know Mike Hardeman, our commentator on Friday, was an happy chappy today because Arsenal won. Arsenal won 1-0 at Chelsea. What a good result for Arsenal, that is. It's currently 3-1 to Villa against Manchester United. So a good result this is for Aston Villa. Don't normally do too well against Manchester United. Southampton 2, Newcastle 2, and West Ham 1. Crystal Palace 1 in the London derby. Tottenham Liverpool kick off at 4:30, incidentally. And St Johnstone created the biggest shock of the day in the Scottish Premiership by beating Rangers by 2-1. Earlier today in the FA Cup, Wrexham 3, Oldham 0. And Curzon Ashton, the latest score there, Curzon Ashton against Cambridge, 0-0 with 60 minutes gone. Gary Johnson just talking there for television because he's got the headset on and that. Just to remind you, if you're wondering why we haven't brought you the scoreline from Torquay against Oxford United and you've just joined us, the game was postponed a good an hour or so before kick-off due to a waterlogged pitch down there, and that's why the game hasn't gone ahead. And also in the Women's Super League, Leicester 0, Arsenal Women 4, Liverpool Women 0, Aston Villa 1, Reading Women 0, Manchester City Women 2, Tottenham and Everton Women was postponed with a 1-1 pitch, and West Ham 1, Brighton 3. They're all in the Women's WSL. Their latest scores in that, just to remind you of that. So 21 minutes gone. We're halfway through the first half. Luke, your impressions or criticisms of what's been a very, I have to say, bitty first half?
Yeah, neither side have really got into the game. They've both kind of just really trying to battle it out and a few physical tackles. I think Torquay probably are edging it slightly on kind of how they're controlling the pitch, but Derby had the better chances. So I think really what needs to happen is one side needs to get a decent set of play together and see if they can get a real decent chance on goal.
Well, we'll see. There's still a long way to go in this match, of course. We're only halfway through the first half, coincidentally, but just to remind you that there will be a replay if it does end level. Let's hope it doesn't for the game's sake. We don't want a goalless draw. I've got to tell you, Luke, I've done the TCM now nearly 90 times, and I've only had in that time 3 goalless 90-minute games. So I just hope I don't jinx anybody today. Let's just hope that is the case. Sidney gets the ball forward for Derby, but that's going to be headed back to Mark Holstead in the Torquay goal. Of course, the slow sun won't help matters as well because people, of course, defenders and goalkeepers will find it very difficult to track the ball. We've got a white mitre ball, so back and throw back to the olden days, really, that FA Cup ball. Although I'm surprised they're not using a fluorescent one like they are in the Premier League. Here's Dobby now going forward into the area. Good tackle there. It'll break to Roberts. And again, another good tackle. Another throw for Derby this time. on the edge of in the line with the edge of the 6-yard box. Smith across promotion as well. Trevor Sports will be doing a Match Trevor Day virtual Premier League highlights. Will be on his channel at 8 o'clock. So don't forget to join Trevor and the gang for that one. That's a virtual football. We're in the real world here on the TCM this afternoon and all the participating channels. Just to remind you, if you want to follow us on Twitter, the Twitter handle is at Commentary Live 1. So if you want to keep up with the latest news, Russ Vernon does a good job keeping that Twitter handle going with all the breaking news in the world of football and sport as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, folks. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video here this afternoon or the live stream here today. We put a lot of time and effort into doing these live streams. So at least you can do if you are watching the participating channels, whether it's the TCM or the TCM2 or JB Sports or Storm FM, is to subscribe and like all the channels. And of course, hit the notification bell because then you know what video will be coming up your way next. And that will be Bracknell Town against Ipswich Town tomorrow evening around about 7:30. 25 minutes almost gone. Derby have a throw in line with the 18-yard box of Torquay on the far side. Paul Ward side right in the playoff mix at the business end of League One. It was always going to be a tough ask to adjust to the division. After everything that's happened, they've got new orders now. Mel Morris is a distant memory now for Derby. Sad what's happened to them in some sort of way because they are a good side. For Premier League regulars around about the turn of the millennium. Players like Asanovic and Ravanelli amongst others in their Premier League years. Great managers like Jim Smith and Arthur Cox and people like that, Brian Clough and all that before. Of course, they've won the title twice. They've never won the FA Cup, I don't think. If up from memory, I know Torquay haven't reached the final of the FA Cup, obviously for obvious reasons, but they've had a few good runs over the years. As Derby comes charging forward in those maroonish red kits. And the ball headed back again and again out of play. That's to be on the Cornish coastline, of course. About 50 miles down the road is the sleepy little town of Port Isaac as well, right on the coast. Of course, home of the television series Doc Martin, starring, of course, the great Martin Clues, which has just finished, actually, its 10th and final series, although there is a Christmas special to come, but it's a really nice part of the world to film and to see, really, this part of Cornwall as the ball comes into the area and knocked away. It wasn't a very good clearance by the Torquay players and out of play for a throw to Derby County. But we'll bring Luke in for a second in just a minute. Still no score here. As Mendes-Lang has it on the far side. And now a chance here now for Bird. Into the area. Bird's cross. And there's the goal. Scored by Ozula. That's his third goal of the season. And with 27 minutes gone, the team 7th in League One leads bottom of the table National League by a goal to nil. Will Nasua the scorer?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say when you brought me in, JB, that one team needed to get the ball and try and create something in which Derby retained the ball quite nicely there. They passed it around. Bird played the ball across and Asula basically got there first and slid it home. It's kind of the bit of quality the game was missing.
Well, it needed that kind of quality. Carry on.
I feel for Torquay a little bit, though, because they haven't looked too bad in this first half so far.
Yeah, you have to feel some sense of sympathy, but Derby have threatened it. And he gets his third goal this season, Ozura. And a nicely taken one, too. So, 28 gone. A setback, really, for Torquay in a lot of ways, but at 1-0 down, they're still very much in this tie. And if I'm being honest, they have to get a few set plays on their side to really test this Derby defence. I would say that, but a good finish by Ozula. Couldn't miss some 6 yards, really. And now It's the onus is on the host now to try and get themselves back into this, because it's going to be a real uphill struggle from now on in. But let's hopefully it won't go be a. Let's hope for the cup tie's sake and for the FA Cup's sake that we see the underdogs come back into this, because we don't want to see a repeat of what we saw at Wrexham today when they took the lead and then just dominated over them from the year Dalton took over. I think that would be really disappointing, really, from a neutral point of view, Luke, really. But the onus is now very much on Torquay now to respond.
I don't get the sense in a minute from this game that Torquay are going to crumble, because they do look like they're quite regimented in what they're doing. It's just whether they can get the ball and carry it forward a bit more to trouble Wildsmith in the Derby goal. Because the minute, I can't remember a clear-cut chance they've had a couple of headers wide, but they really need to try and trouble him a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you make, Luke. Yeah, they need more. They need more of the ball, really, just to try and hook high balls in the second half. Maybe they could have done attacking the other end rather than the left hand end rather than the right hand end. But this is the goal again. Bird nicely worked. Captain's cross, really. Mendes starts it. Then it carries on through Casey Smith. The ball blocked across, and it's a good finish. I don't know what the goalkeeper could have done about it, to be fair. But the onus, in my opinion, is definitely on Torquay now to try and battle hard. Torquay at 1-0 down are still very much in this game and still have every opportunity in a lot of aspects to get back into this game. Remember, a draw would bring another money spinner for them up at the old Pride Park Stadium. So money, of course, would be Torquay's blessing, really, in disguise. It's true that neither of these two teams come to final reckoning when the finals played in early June. Will be in the final, but one thing's for sure, if you can get yourself on a decent cup run, if you're one of these two teams, the money that you get for those is worth its weight in gold. So, worth its weight in gold, I should say. But for Torquay more so, really. So the pressure really is on them to perform. And they've got the television cameras there. ITV are there covering the match this afternoon. It's really important, really, that they put on a show in front of the television cameras and ourselves at the TC Hub. Now they've got possession midway inside the Derby half. And now they have it on the far side. It needs to be a good, accurate cross, and it almost was. But Derby had sufficient numbers back to get it away from their own penalty area. And here they go again with Hayden Roberts darting down that left-hand Derby left-hand channel, and it's out of play for a throw-in. But good challenge there by Ness. Nothing Loch Ness about that one, I can tell you. He's definitely no monster. But Torquay 0, Derby 1. We've had half an hour. You're listening to TCM's alternate commentary of this first round tie. Third of 4 that we've got lined up for you this week. We've brought you to Portsmouth away at Hereford. Portsmouth winning that one quite comfortably. 2-0. And then the same scoreline for Forest Green Rovers yesterday. 1-0 in this one today. As the shot comes in, it's just over the top from Mendes' line, right-footed shot. But Derby now, Luke, it's probably pays you to say this at this point, but as a Forest fan, but Derby, you have to say, are taking control now and could have easily gone 2-up if Mendes' leg shot had been a bit more accurate.
Derby are starting to assert themselves into the game, and I think Torquay need to just get hold of the ball a little bit more. I mean, it's started to come into being a good game because the Derby are starting to get hold of the ball, creating chances, and I think if Torquay can just get hold of it a little bit more, they might be able to create something. But at the minute, they just can't seem to get any retention on the ball.
Well, they might get a chance here on the break, and then the referee has said no foul there. There's a Torquay player gone down in a heap there, and they stopped the play. Now let's see what happened there. And there's a familiar face, Luke. What do you know who that is? A certain Mr. Warner, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. one of the best managers in the lower end of the division. He's got fewer and no more than 10 promotions in his career. Never really happened for him at the top level of English football. Never managed to keep a team up in the top flight. He tried a few years ago with Sheffield United when he was manager there. There's going to be a drop ball. Now we're looking at it now. There's going to be a substitution coming on. It's going to be No, it's not a substitution. Moxie is the man stricken, so he's going to get some treatment. So they're down to 10 men. But if you're Gary Johnson now, what would you be thinking now? Just to get half time, a goal down, and then reevaluate the situation at half time?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to try and make sure that you're not conceding too many goals before half time. But I'd still be thinking, can we nick one before half time?
Well, if they can get one before half time, it would be an absolute godsend for them. But here they come again on the break here with Lewis Dobbin here for Derby. He's into the area. Was he pushed? David Rock had a good look and he says no. Well, it's 50-50 where you get those given. Whether that was coming together or a push, let's just see. I think Dobbin was looking for that a little bit, Luke. We haven't got the VAR today, for obvious reasons. What do you think? Was Denolan very good crafty there, or was that a penalty?
I've seen them given, but at the same time, the referees decide that's not a penalty, so I'm with him on that one.
Yeah, well, he had a good look at it there. David Rock, the referee from Hertfordshire, and a free kick has been given by him. About 15 yards inside the Torquay half. There is a substitution being made. Dylan Crowe is on for Dean Moxie. So obviously Moxie can't continue. Dean Moxie, a former Derby County player. He's also started his career not too far down the road at Exeter City. We're going well with League One. Plymouth are not far away as well. Top of League One as well. As the ball is being lifted into the area, that's going to be a corner to Torquay now with 10 minutes to go to half time. Cashin keeps the corner away, and he just had to get a little foot. It must have been the slightest of touches because, he definitely touched him there. So a corner kick. We've got about 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go at the end of this first half. I'll bring you up to date with the scores for elsewhere in the Premier League and all that jazz as the ball is played into the penalty area. Comes out to the edge of the area now. Torquay still in possession. Here's number 27 on the ball now. It's De Silva. Still Dylan De Silva. Can he get the cross in? It's another corner to Torquay. You've got to make these set plays count now. And De Silva may well have to go on. Will he go short? He's going to leave it. 20 forward in yellow. Ellis is in there. Jarvis, the top scorer, is in there. Laps is on the edge of the area. As the ball comes in towards the far post area. And it's come away again. And here's Ellis who knocks the ball back again. Ball tossed into the penalty area again. Headed back in there. But Derby doing really well. Stem the yellow tide at the moment from Torquay. Again, the ball lofted in there. Here's a chance now for the number 9. Here's Jarvis. Jarvis running round and round. Coming to go round and by now. The ball comes in and it's hooked away by Max Bird for a throw to Torquay. That's more likely from Torquay now. They're going to throw on the far side. And they're going to take it. We'll bring Luke in a minute for that little passage to get his views on this passage of play. But Torquay have a throw in. Could be long one because it's been lined up. The player who's taking it's going to take it short after all that. Cross comes in from the far side. It might be for the Silva. Ball out of play. Goal kick to Derby, but the last sort of 4, maybe 5 minutes, Luke, much better from Torquay.
Absolutely, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Torquay needs to get hold of the ball and create some chances. And although there were really clear-cut shots for Wild to save, at least it got some play around Derby's box.
Well, certainly Gary Johnson must have earned your mark because he certainly did his side play a lot better. 3 for 4 for Paul Ward and his troops. Free kick given to Derby County now as we now go into the final 7 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of the first half. It's been a really good cup tie now. It's really come to the boil. It's now starting to get a little bit damp out there. Pitch starting to cut up a little bit now. There is a few spots already in the air now. But quite a blustery wind as well. Brewing off the southwest coast now. As Torquay comes charging forward, that might make things a little bit more interesting second half if it stays this way, or better still, Torquay get level in this. They're in possession now. Ball hooked over the halfway line, looking towards Silver. Tries to flick it on. It just goes beyond Rapley there. And it comes away to Sibley. Sibley gets it forward. Again, the Hallspar challenge is coming in, and it's a foul. Collins about penalised. James Collins, not the former West Ham player, but a different James Collins. Ellis with a no-holds foul challenge. And here's a chance inside the area. And it's a Stewart who got him behind the head and almost got his second goal. But you have to say, Luke, that was a brilliant save for Mark Oster, because if that is not saved, Torquay would be looking down the abyss of a 2-goal deficit going towards the last 5 minutes before the break.
Had to get that right as he came out, and he did just that. He just covered the ground well and made himself big enough to stop the ball getting past him.
Did a good job there, Olstead. I'll second that, Luke. It was a great save. And no nervousness as it was before when he came out to hook the ball away earlier on. So 5 minutes before stoppage time to go in the first half. Still very much Derby winning by a goal to nil here on all the TCF platforms, but it's a cup game, very much all to play for us. Torquay get a free kick there. Quite a lot of plays and free kicks given here by David Rock. And if anyone was hoping that we'd see a free-flowing game of football, we've certainly haven't had that, but we've had everything else. But besides all that, at least we've had a goal, which is what that can be said with some games this weekend, that's for sure. But we've had all the games we've covered so far. We've had goals in them. Unfortunately, they've not gone the way of the leaguers that we've covered this so far. As the ball comes in, Torquay having another opportunity, but they get hounded out. And here goes number 11. Mendes like down the left-hand side. They swap flanks here, it sounds like to me. Mendes like towards the area. Has to use Roberts. Roberts is crossed towards the back post. Header goes in from number 9, Collins, and it's headed out and hooked away for... I thought it was a Derby throw, but the ball must have just stayed in play. As the ball comes in, header one. And it was Lewis Dobbin from 6 yards out who heads over into the Derby fans behind that goal away to my right. And could that be a miss, Luke? It may come back to Derby County, because if that goes in, that safety zone of a 2-goal lead should score for me, Lewis Dobbin.
You could have this scenario where Derby's missed chances come back to haunt them, but again, I think with that one, he gets under the header instead of getting power behind the header, which means it goes over the bar.
Well, whether he got underneath it or not, that has to be put down as a big chance wasted for Paul Ward's side. But it's away by Halstead. And forward again. But if Torquay can stay it till half-time, we evaluate the situation at the break. Harry Johnson works his magic with his half-time team talk. Then they've got every chance in the second half to produce either a replay or a massive cup upset. But at the moment, that possibility looking very unlikely here, as Smith will take the throw for Derby. Corey Smith, who played a part in the opening goal scored by Will Azua, his third goal of the season. It's has given Derby the advantage here at Claymore. Goal kick. Goal kick now to Torquay United. As we now go into the last couple of minutes of normal time at the end of the first half then. As Ulster prepares the goal kick. Well, as we're coming towards the end of the first half, let's get your impressions. It's been a highly competitive first half of football here in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's not been an easy one for Derby. I've been impressed with Torquay overall. I think they're unlucky to concede that goal from Willard Azula, just switched off slightly. But after that, they came into it, created a few more chances, and Derby have missed a few as well. I think if the finishing product was there for either side, there could be more goals.
Well, they might have a chance for a second one. Shot comes in from Collins and it's hooked away for a corner. Not sure whether the goalkeeper saved it or the defender got it away, but Derby came within an ace and going 2-0 up here through James Collins, cutting in from the right hand channel. In fact, it was a good block there by Lewis Ness. And it's a corner kick now. I'm trying to read my own commentary notes, which is very hard at the best of times. Here comes the corner then from the far side. Header one by a Torquay head. And then we're into the last minute of normal time. Can Torquay the last sortie before we go for a half-time cup of tea? Luke will stay on and do a little bit of analysis with Russ, who will give you the latest scores from around the country in the Premier League, FA Cup and the Women's Super League. Remember, kick-off for Liverpool-Tottenham is about at 4:30. There's a chance here for Torquay, but the ball breaks kindly for Wildsmith. So, Derby get away with it. We'll get a bit. Well, we're all looking towards Lee Swansea direction to see how much stoppage time will be added on at the end of the first half. We had a little bit of a stop-start, 20 minutes. We're going to have 2 extra minutes more. That's what Lee Swansea has given here. Quick on there, but it's going to be Mark Holstead, who's done really well in the Torquay goal. Had no chance with the one that went past him midway through the first half. But still, a sizable crowd here at Plainmoor. There's a few empty seats in the main stand opposite us. But anyway, here comes Torquay now. Ball down the line. And it's Goodwin now gets the ball in. It deflects. It will be another Torquay corner. And you've just got to think now, if they can make one of these set plays count, get themselves in it at 1-1, that would be a crucial blow to take. So number 12 here, Stephen Ware, is going to take the corner. Goodwin is on the goalkeeper there. Ellis is forward from the back. So we're into the second minute or two as the ball is flicked in there. Wildsmith with a sort of wild punch, and then the ball headed back in there by a Torquay player, but it's into touch and behind and out for a goal kick to Derby. There's a Torquay player on his haunches there. So with the scoreline looking likely Luke to be a half-time lead of 1-0 for Derby, what do you think Gary Johnson will have to do at half-time to turn this one around for Torquay? What do you think he'll need to do to try and test Derby more in the second half as the conditions now continue to wave a big style here down on the southwest coast?
They need to get the ball into dangerous areas and get some shots off on target.
Well, there we are. Nice and to the point from our commentator. And it has been a first half, really, that's been quite a watch. It's been a proper cup tie, this. No quality given. Here's the silver now. Last chance now for Torquay. They might even get an equaliser from this, but not this time. Ball comes in. Still no word from David Rock if there's going to be any more stoppage time. We are playing well over the 2 minutes. I should stress that the 2 minutes that was given was a minimum of. As soon as I say that, David Rock brought to half time. So Torquay have got it all to do really at half time here in this FA Cup first round game. Mazula's goal, the difference in the first half. Terrifically taken goal, but Torquay have looked a little bit of a threat from set plays. They've put Joel Wildsmith under pressure at least a couple of times without being too extraordinary. But that 27th-minute goal by Mazula, he's third of the season in all competitions, has given Derby County a half-time lead. As we head back to Russ Burden, it's a half-time score in this FA Cup first round tie of Torquay United 0, Derby County 1. Russ, it's all you.
Thank you very much, JB and to Luke Tate. We're back with those with plenty enough time for the second half in the game between Torquay United and Derby County, where it is Torquay United 0, Derby County 1. Good goal from Willasula to give the Rams the lead at the break, and we'll get the overall thoughts on that first half with Luke Turton a little bit later on when we go across to him again in a few minutes. The team news for the game at Anfield, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is in between Tottenham and Liverpool. We'll have alternative delayed commentary on that one from our man Sean Kelly, who's going to be watching that game for us this afternoon. So we'll bring you delayed coverage of that probably tomorrow afternoon before our FA Cup coverage concludes tomorrow. So let's go through some of the Premier League scores then. In the Premier League is currently Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1. Earlier it finished Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. Southampton 1, Newcastle United 4. Now, Newcastle went 3-0 up through Almiron, Chris Wood and Willock before Pro pulled one back. And then in second half stoppage time, Bruno Guimaraes has made it 4-1 to Newcastle United. The goal scorers in the Aston Villa game was Leon Bailey, Luca Dean and Jacob Ramsey for Aston Villa. Jacob Ramsey has scored an own goal as well in the game for at Villa Park, in which is Unai Emery's first game in charge of Aston Villa. Cristiano Ronaldo has been booked for Manchester United. Is West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 2, second half stoppage time there. Said Ben Rama put West Ham United in the lead after 20 minutes. Wolves are equalised on 41, but an Aaron Creswell own goal in the 94th minute looks to have won the game for Crystal Palace. And as I said, Tottenham against Liverpool kicks off at 4:30. We'll have delayed commentary on that one tomorrow. In the FA Cup then, just to tell you about, it finished a shock, in my opinion, for Wrexham against Oldham. Wrexham 3, Oldham 0. Some may disagree with that, like our commentator JB did. It's Curzon Ashton 0, Cambridge United 0. Coming up towards full time in that one there in stoppage time at the end of the second half. Looks like that game is going to go to a replay at the Abbey Stadium. Woking against Oxford, match was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch this morning. And as you know, Torquay losing 1-0, Derby County in our featured game. In the Women's Super League, to tell you about, finished Leicester City 0, Arsenal 4. It's currently Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 1. Finished Reading 0, Manchester City 3. The game between Tottenham and Everton match was postponed. And at half time is West Ham United 1, Brighton 3. This evening in the WSL at 6:45 is Manchester United against Chelsea. In the Women's Championship, 3 games being played, 1 a result, 2 in second half stoppage time, 2 postponed. The postponements are Crystal Palace against Sheffield United and Lewes against Bristol City. The result is Durham 1, Charlton 2, and the latest ones in second half stoppage time, Blackburn 1, Sunderland 0, and London City Lionesses 3, Birmingham City 2. French League 1, there is 7 games taking place today in there. 5 have already been completed. Lorient 1, PSG 2, Clermont 1, Montpellier 1, Nice 1, Brest 0, Reims 1, Nantes 0, Toulouse 0, Monaco 2. The evening kickoffs are Lille against Rennes at 4, should I say, and Marseille take on Lyon at 7:45. In the German Bundesliga, to finish off with, it's currently 69 minutes on the clock. It's by Leverkusen 4, Union Berlin 0. Freiburg against FC Cologne is at 4:30 this evening. In the Serie A, just tell you, 2 results and 1 latest score is Bologna 2, Torino 1, Monza 2, Verona 0 are the results, and Sampdoria losing 2-0 to Fiorentina. In the Scottish Premiership, Rangers is 7 points behind Celtic after they lost 2-1 to St Johnstone. Rangers fans calling for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst to be sacked, and I've heard they want Steven Gerrard back. Full-time whistles have gone in a couple of the early Premier League games, kicked off at 2. Aston Villa have beaten Manchester United by 3-1 in Unai Emery's first game in charge, and is Aston Villa's first victory over Manchester United at home since 1995. West Ham United won Crystal Palace 2. And Newcastle United have beaten Southampton by 4-1. Those results have just come in. And in the Scottish Premiership at half time is Hearts 1, Motherwell 0. There's some games in La Liga, I'll tell you about those later, but let's just look at some of the chances again in that first half with our co-commentator and your summariser today, Luke Turton. And there's been some good games, been some good chances in the game so far, Luke. How do you think both managers will be looking at this going into the second half? Yes, maybe Paul one, maybe the happy because this side's in the front, but you'd have to say Gary Johnson will be happy as well with the way his side's performed, wouldn't you, Luke?
I'd actually say that Gary Johnson's probably the happier of the two. Because to me, you've got Torquay have battled well and they've kept Derby down to just 1-0 with the chances they've had. But Paul Warne will probably be a little bit irritated by the amount of chances Derby haven't put away.
I see what you're saying there, Luke. And if you're just looking at it, and if you just look with the teams as well, on the bench for Derby, there's a lot of experienced players on the bench. Conor Uran, Richard Stearman, just a couple of experienced ones, outfield ones there, a few youngsters on there as well, like Liam Thompson, Ozzy Azaitai, Kel Adura, and Jake Rooney. I think he's the cousin, if I remember correctly, the cousin of former Derby manager Wayne Rooney. And Wayne also played for Everton, Manchester United, and England. Had a fantastic career, currently managing out in the MLS. Is Wayne. But if you look at the remaining subs that Torquay's got, no really got any really game changer, I would have to say, for Torquay. Whereas, as I mentioned, if you look at Derby, we've got Conor Uran, Richard Stearman, who could potentially change the game. Stearman, potentially, if he's still 1-0, help him hold on to that lead. What do you think of, who do you think's got the more options on the bench, Luke, to potentially change things at the break?
I mean, from just listening to what you were saying, Russ, about the benches, I'd say that the only one that stands out for me on both benches is what Cora Hurahan. I think he'd be one that could come on and probably score a worldie or two because we know that he can hit shots from anywhere. But apart from that, neither bench really looks that inspiring. But Torquay need to get the ball and just force Wildsmith into a few saves because at the minute it's a little bit easy for Wildsmith to just claim balls they'll put across the box and then just get it moving in the opposite direction.
Yes, absolutely. And if you look at that first off, as you say, Gary Johnson maybe the happier with the chance to how they've played and how they've only restricted Derby to that one goal. If you was in his shoes right now and you were speaking to the team that's come off that field of play in that first half and performed like that, would you be saying more of the same? Because for me, I'm saying more of the same, just take more shots on the edge of the penalty area. Is that what you'd be asking them as well? Look, if you was the Torquay manager Gary Johnson at half time.
I'd say maybe a bit more braver on the ball because they're getting the ball and they're trying to get it forward, but when it gets to the edge of the box, it's like you have it, you have it, you have it. See if anyone's gonna have a shot. Be a bit braver, try and beat a player, and then put the ball across into a more of a dangerous area. Because at the minute they're just putting the balls across the box and hoping. Whereas if you try and get it a bit closer in, be a bit more braver on the ball, then they might score a few, get a goal or two.
Yes, absolutely. If you was in the opposite end, opposite changing room, Paul War, and you were Paul Warren right now, what would you be saying to the Derby County players? Take you out off like you're a Forest fan. If you was in Paul Warren's shoes, what would you be saying to your Derby County players right now, Luke, at the break?
Take your chances. Stop getting under the ball. Get over the ball when you're getting these headers in these shots, and get your aims right so that you're not blazing the ball into the opposition fans in the second half. Because so many chances were going sky into the sky, more or less.
Yeah, I think with one of the chances from Derby, I'm not sure who he was who had that shot. Uh, he went over the bar and even out of the stadium as well at one point. I think I saw one of the chances go out of the stadium. So potentially, I agree with what you just said there, Luke. With that one, if you was in Paul Warren's shoes, just the FA Cup. To tell you how it did finish, Curzon Ashton 0, Cambridge 0. A replay at the Abbey Stadium in around about 10 or so days' time. So, and any replays that get televised that we can watch, we'll probably bring you some of those commentaries from the FA Cup as well. And all the games have finished in the Premier League as well. To tell you about just the latest in the Bundesliga is still 1-0, still 4-0 to Bayer Leverkusen, but they've got a big chance right now, a chance to make it 5 potentially in a second, and they have just made it 5-0 right now. We'll try and bring you that goal score. It is currently 5-0 to Bayer Leverkusen right now. The game's in Syria. The game in Syria between Sampdoria and Fiorentina has finished as well. That's finished 2-0 to Fiorentina. There, we'll just quickly run you through while we're for the second half. So the scores in La Liga so far finished Atletico Madrid 1, 10-man Espanyol 1. It's currently 10-man Real Sociedad 1, Valencia 1 in first half stoppage time. Later at 5 is Villarreal against Mallorca, and at 8 o'clock is Real Betis against Sevilla as well. Be interesting to see how the second half fares. As JB alluded to, if Torquay do get back into this game and we do end all square, we'll go to a replay at Pride Park in around about 10 days' time, and hopefully we'll be able to. But hopefully the game is settled on the night, so we don't have to go to. So we don't have to go to replay. And hopefully we could maybe potentially see a shock, which is something that us neutrals may want to see. We'll be getting ready to hand back across to JB and Luke very, very shortly. Some we'll be bringing some World Cup action on our channel, as JB mentioned. Try and feature all of the 64 games if we can possibly do so. Some may be live, some may be recorded, depending on commitments to our team. But we will try and bring you the majority of those. And as I just run you through again quickly, just before I went back to JB, Wrexham 3, Oldham 0, Curzon Ashton 0, Cambridge 0 are both full times. And this game is Torquay 0, Derby County 1 on the break. The players are back out, ready for the second half. Our commentary team are ready for the second half. So it's time for me to hand back over to my commentary team of Luke Turton. But first, over to JB, John Stuttard.
Thank you, Russ. Welcome back, everybody, to Play More for the alternate commentary of this first round game. It's the first ever meeting between these two sides. They've never met before in any competition, whether it's League, FA Cup or EFL Cup. And at the moment, Derby leading by that 27th-minute goal scored by Will Ozua. The rays came down. It will make this pitch a lot more zippier on top of the second half. I should tell you the last first round tie Derby were involved in was at the old baseball ground way back in 1985. They played and they won 5-0 against 5-1 against Crewe Alexandra. They went one better in the next round, in the second round, and knocked 6 past Telford United in a 6-1 win again at the baseball ground. So watch out, Torquay. This could be this could be a very uphill second half. But here they come on the ball now. Number 12 here on the ball is Stephen Word. Already we're lining up a shot which just goes wide of the far post of Joe Wildsmith. And Luke Turton is alongside me for the second half in the commentary box. Already Torquay signalling for their attempt from the kickoff there. And a good run there by Stephen Word. If it had been a bit more accurate, that would have been troubling Joe Wildsmith for sure.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tame shot, but the run showed intent, and that's kind of what I was saying to Russ during half time. Need to get the ball, carry it forward, and create a dangerous attempt. And already inside the first minute of the half, they've created an opening for themselves.
Yeah, I'll just tell you one little stat from the last time Derby ever played a first-round cup game in a minute. You won't believe this, but we'll pick that up in a minute because Derby are on the attack here. A goal for goal, and is that gone in? It has. The second goal for Azua, and that's the fourth goal for him this season. And Torquay's optimism within about a minute and 15 seconds at the start of the second half as a preparative big time. Ellis can't believe it. And Anoa gets his second goal of the day. Derby County now have a little bit of breathing space in this first round cup tie. They lead Torquay by 2 goals to 0 at Plainmoor.
I think the pace of Asula just does Ellis, all ends up there, and then the shot just finds its way in. This guy looks quality, this Asula. He's physical, he's quick, he's got skill, he can hit shots. I think Derby's got a real player here.
It's a terrific finish, isn't it? And hits it well with his left foot. Goalkeeper maybe question marks at his near post, Halstead. But if Derby needed a little bit of a pick-me-up because they knew it was going to be a very difficult second half in prospect for them, well, it's got a little bit easier for them now. They've got that 2-goal lead. And that is going to make things a bit more tricky for Torquay United. A little slip there, but let me bring you in, Luke. The last time Derby County played a first-round cup tie, you won't believe it, there was never any football televised for the first half of that 1985-6 season because, believe it or not, BBC and ITV at the time were in dispute with the league. Can you believe it now?
Wow. That's madness.
Well, there's a possibility of a penalty. No, play on, says the referee. Yeah, it was madness. There was a lot of trouble in the English game around about that time. And I'm just about old enough to remember that. Giving my age away. Oh, the ball played into the area. And again, a little opening for Torquay there. And if De Silva just gambled a little bit there, Luke, Torquay might have been back in business.
I mean, if I was Gary Johnston, I would telling our players to just gamble and take risks on everything. I mean, what's the worst that could happen now? You're already losing 2-0.
Well, that's it. You want to go forward, but then the danger is they don't want to get murdered to the extent where Derby score 4 or 5. They want to try and keep it respectable as well, but they'll have a go. Talking, they'll be assured about that. And here's the chance now for Wren. He'll get his team a throw in line with the 18-yard box of Derby Counties. On the left-hand side, they take it quickly. And they keep possession rather well here with Mark Ellis. Can he get the ball forward? He can. That's a good ball from Ellis. Picks the ball out towards the far side, but Derby again. Those maroon shirts. Looking very professional when they're on the ball, very slick. Not a very easy service to play your football on. It's holding up a little bit, the ball, but it's still rolling. A real treat, though. Derby up possession again, and it's Max Bird, the captain now. Over the halfway line, chips it in now towards Ozura. He's on a hat-trick, of course. Goals from him either side of half-time now has really given Torquay a mount to the climb. At this moment in time, they're climbing Mount Everest. If the third one goes in, it's Kilimanjaro. Ball knocked away now by Joe Wildsmith. And now to play for a throw to Derby County. Few dignitaries in the crowd there. It's a big day for Torquay. The money they will make from this one game alone will certainly please the bank manager. It's been a club really, Torquay, that have had to fight to survive really the financial climate of football. They've always been in the bottom basement division of the Football League for many, many years until their relegation a few years back. But at the moment, it's looking very grim for them now in the league. As I say, 24th, but they could still battle back out of it. But they need to put in much better performances maybe in the league. To be fair, it would have been nice for them to have done a cup upset today. But even if they are to go out, they're going to go and they go out battering. It has to give them confidence, Luke, going into a tough period where there's no gimmies even in the National League for teams, as we just see number 4 here, Conor Hurahan coming on for Lewis Sibley.
Yeah, I think Torquay have to put this sort of performance in the National League, because this has been a real good start, a good game from Torquay so far. It's just that Derby have had that little bit extra quality, which you'd probably expect from a League One side to a National League side. But as well, Conor Hurahan coming on will not help Torquay's cause at all.
Yeah, top player, former Aston Villa and Barnsley man, Conor Hurahan, as the ball is chipped forward towards the back post. It's headed behind for a corner to Torquay now. You get the feeling now at this stage they need to score the next one, if there is to be a next goal, to get themselves back in the hunt. The ball was intended there for Stephen Verne, who's going to take this corner kick from the near side as we look here. The Torquay left. Verne swings the ball into the area. Up go the head, and it was a Derby one who got it at the back post. Comes again for another cross here. Tossed in with great ferocity there, but it's on the roof of the net, as it turns out. It was Goodwin had played it in, and in the end it came to nothing. But good opening the two there for Torquay there. Luke, as we look at that. Have you seen that of a football ground? A falcon. And there's the falconry expert there as well. You've never seen that before?
Not many football grounds, no, GB. But I just that chance that came in, that cross, it was way too high up. It's way too high up. They need to get a little bit lower.
Yeah, the ball played into the area lower. Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit mishit, that ball onto the roof of the net, and we saw a few seagulls in the crowd as well. Of course, Torquay very famous for its coastline, a seaside town. They say it's the English Riviera. It's been nothing like a Riviera today. It's been with all sorts of weather. We had sun at the start. We've had torrential rain. The pitch is cutting up like you wouldn't believe. It's a proper cup tie, this, in a lot of ways. Apart from the scoreline, which reads Torquay 0, Derby 2. If you've just joined us here, with 53 minutes gone on the TCM. Here's Verne. Verne playing the ball in. No, the chance there. No, it's not a penalty. David Rock is having a good look at it. Give it a penalty. And Torquay have a chance to half the deficit. Let's see it again. It's going to be. I think it's going to be Asa Hall to take it. Let's have a look at it again. The ball played in. Well, there's a shirt pull there, isn't there?
You just can't grab hold of players' shirts like that when they're about to hit shots. It's criminal, and the Derby players should know it. And it's Cashin again, isn't it? Yeah.
Could be Cashin.
He's not having a good day today, Aaron Cashin.
Yeah, well, it was neither him or Forsyth who were the closest to him. But what it does mean is that Asa Hall has to score with this next kick to bring Torquay back into this game. And there's no VAR, remember, in the FA Cup first round. VAR only come into play in the Cup when the Premier League comes in, and even then it's got to be at the Premier League ground. And there's a red card being shown. And you are right, it is Cashin who's been sent off. And it must have been a denying as well of a goal-scoring opportunity. I must admit I didn't see that. Cashin has been sent off, Luke. More sensations here.
I mean, yes, it's denied a goal-scoring opportunity, but oh, wow. I mean, I wasn't expecting the red card as well as the penalty, because usually they just do a yellow card, don't they, these days? But, well, fair enough. I mean,
they could argue Derby that... And then again, though, well, you could argue that Craig Forsyth was a covering defender as well. So It's 50-50 whether that was a red card or not. We'll get your views on that in a minute. But Hall here has a chance to bring it back to 2-1. Well, what a turn up for the Bucks this has been with 10 minutes of the second half played. If this goes in, Torquay are back in it and against 10 men. So it's Hall against Wildsmith from 12 yards. It's going to be right-footed. He's waiting for referee Rock's whistle. He steps up, smashes it, right-footed. Oh, just about down the middle. And Torquay hobbled right back into this game. Wildsmith got something of it, but couldn't keep it out. And it's game on here at Playmore. Torquay 1, Derby County 2, Luke.
I'm amazed. I mean, I don't think that was a red card. I think that because the guy was covering, I think Forsyth would have got there, but David Rock's seen it a different way. As for the penalty, I think, again, it was very risky to go straight down the middle, but again, the goalkeeper dives out, so it's about the way of it, so it just goes straight under him. Game on.
Having said that, though, Hall did hit that with a little bit of ferocity, so it is game on, as you say, Luke. Torquay 1, Derby County 2, a 10-man Derby County 2. And we do have that cup tie with a vengeance now. Gary Johnson's men, bottom of the National League, 1, Derby County, 10-man Derby County, 7th in the League 1, 2. So that's the state of play with 12 minutes almost gone here in this FA Cup game. And here goes James Collins now on the right-hand side. Cuts inside, looks for support, chips it in towards Mendes Lang. It will be a corner kick to Derby, and they'll be relieved to have it down that end of the field as Crow concedes the throw, the corner rather. Derby about to make a substitution.
You know when you've just scored a goal, the last thing you want to do is give the ball away in the middle of the opposition half to allow the team of 10 men to break.
Yeah, it's madness, really, isn't it? But anyway, I think the substitution, I think Mendes Lang has been withdrawn. I'll just try and keep a close eye on his substitution. There is going to be a corner taken by Hurahan. So Mendes Lang has come off. He's done really well today. Had a good performance. And of course, Luke, you've got to choose your player of the match in the next half an hour or so. So I suggest in a few minutes' time, get your thinking cap on, because we'll be coming to you around about the 87th minute. Richard Stearman, formerly of Wolves, is now on. So extra defensive reinforcements needed from Derby, who are down to 10 men, but have this corner. Collins is in there. Richard Stearman up there from the back as well. Referee not happy about pushing and shoving. Hurahan still waiting to take the corner, still even waiting to put the ball down on the corner quadrant. So Hurahan to take the corner. Can Derby get their noses in front to a 2-goal lead as the ball comes in towards, I think it was Richard Stearman at the near post. And in the end, it's behind for a goal kick. It may have actually been, it must have been Richard Stearman. Anyway, it's a goal kick nevertheless to Torquay. But, some great passage of play there for the last sort of 5 or 6 minutes there, Luke. And we've really got a cup tie now with a vengeance, haven't we?
The game has come into life since the half-time break, and it's kind of what I expected. The game starts cagey, and teams grow into it.
I also made the point at half-time that before in the first half that a bitty first half could also pave the way to a classic second half, and we certainly had a classic first 15 minutes of the second half. Well, we've had 14 minutes actually, but we've had 2 goals in this opening period of the second half, plus a red card. And it's 2-1 to Derby, and there's still half an hour of this to go. I wouldn't put it past Torquay at this point, with the man advantage, to grab a replay out of this, potentially. But having said all that, it is quite difficult, Luke, to play against 10 men, let alone 11 sometimes, especially when you've got quality players that Derby have in their squad.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for Torquay, but then again, it wasn't going to be easy with 11 men. So, I mean, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing from the start of the half and see what happens.
Well, you never know. The FA Cup has a way of throwing up a few surprises, as it always does, as it's always done in its 150-odd year history. So many surprises down the years, it's unbelievable. And this is why we all love covering the FA Cup on this of the TCM. It's one of the it's proper football, really. They get the Premier League and its riches and all the fans and funds that go with it. This is real football. Real football in the extreme. We will keep you abreast of all the latest scores. Remember, we'll keep you abreast with Tottenham Liverpool when that kicks off in some sort of 5-6 minutes time. But there has been some really interesting results in the Premier League this afternoon. But we'll keep you across all them. All the other 4 games are full times. I'll keep you up to date. I'll remind you of the scores now. Point of fact, Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal goes clear at the top now. Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1. Nobody saw that one coming, to be fair. Unai Emery with a big, important win there in his first game as Villa manager. Southampton 1, Newcastle 4. Newcastle going great guns right up amongst the front runners for Champions League football. Eddie Howe's you've got to say they've had a terrific season. And West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2. That's a surprising result in a lot of ways, especially West Ham being at home and all that. They usually do well in Europe. Tottenham Liverpool, it kicks off in some 5 minutes' time. In the Scottish Premiership, latest score, Hearts 2, Motherwell 1 at Tynecastle. And there's been an early result. It's a bad one for Rangers fans. It's at Johnston 2, Rangers 1. And that will please every Celtic fan in the land, I would have thought. We'll bring you the WSL scores in just a second because here come Torquay on the break. And that's going to be a corner off the back of Craig Forsyth's back. And Derby thought it was a goal kick. It's not. You're wrong there, guys. It's a corner. So, cue Stephen Byrne to take the corner. If they can get one here, get another one here, Torquay, they're in paradise. Just remind you that Curzon Ashton Cambridge, which kicked off about 2 o'clock, that's finished 0-0. So that's, and of course, Torquay 1, Derby County 2, Wrexham Elliott beat Oldham 3-0 in the FA Cup. And the ball, she's back there to the number 16, Donovan, who shoots, and then the ball breaks loose, and the shot just wide. In amongst, a melee really inside that penalty area. I'm not sure who had the final shot. Looks like Mark Ellis to me. Let's just see. He was certainly forward for it. Let's see. Ellis twicked it on there. I don't think it was. It was, in fact, Asa Hall who scored the penalty, Luke, that lashed the shot wide. But they're getting chances, Torquay, and they're laying siege out to the Derby goal.
Yeah, I think he needed to try and go the other side with that shot because there wasn't a lot of the goal for him to aim at. But, I mean, it's, again, better from Torquay.
And we're seeing a real proper feisty cup tie now. Plenty of drama, plenty of spirit, plenty of courage. And hopefully we'll have a bit more of that at Bracknell tomorrow evening. But Bracknell tomorrow evening as they take on Ipswich Town, the 1978 winners who fell at the second round stage last season to, you may remember, on the TCM and a replay against Barrow. I was there. I was the lucky soul covering that one. Will they come a cropper there or will they get the job done at Bracknell? Well, to find out, join Nicholas Jones from about 7:45 kickoff. And we'll also bring you news of the second round draw, which takes place around about 7:15 tomorrow evening. Will Derby be in the hat? Or will Torquay battle back and grab a replay and be in that hat themselves tomorrow? We'll soon find out in the next sort of 25 minutes plus injury time. Smith for the throw for Derby. Comes away. Remember, Derby down to 10 men, remember. But they have scored 2 goals. It was Osua with 2 goals either side of half time. Asa Hall pulled one back from a penalty spot. But remember also, Ian Cashin has been sent off for a denial of the goal scoring opportunity. Although, what me and Luke have discussed earlier on in that incident, I think Forsyth would have got back and covered anyway. So we think Damien Rock may have got that one wrong. But here's her now for Derby. Ball just holding up on this difficult surface now, which is going to make it a bit more trickier now. Ball's just going to roll anyway. A lottery, I think now for the next 25 minutes with the conditions the way they are, the ball rolling about whichever way for now, Luke. This game's a bit of a lottery now as far as trying to keep possession is concerned. Who's going to come out on top? We'll get your views in just a second because we've just got De Silva on the ball now. We'll wait for a decision to go Derby's way, in which they do. Roberts is pushing De Silva, which is a little bit uncalled for. Free kick to Derby. But now with the pitch conditions the way they are now, this game is certainly a lottery now for the next 25 minutes or so that remains.
Yeah, I think it's gonna make it interesting to see what happens, and it'll suit Torquay because they've obviously played on this pitch a lot more than Derby have.
Yeah, and they'll know every blade of grass and every diameter of the pitch. Despite the fact that they're 24th from rock bottom of the National League, Paul Wants feels very hard done by. He's talking to the fourth official there, at least Swabby. He feels his team have been a little bit inconvenienced by having the man sent off. It could easily be argued that way. And it's been a very good game. Remember, Derby, 10-man Derby, leading 2-1 against Torquay, but it's a real battle now with 24 minutes plus injury time to play. Been a terrific match. And there's still a long way to go in this one, let me assure you, and that's on the TCR but all the platforms. Torquay win the free kick. Well, whatever happens, really, I mean, we've had some terrific shocks this weekend. Old Church especially, they've been a massive giant killer. You've got the likes of Buxton through as well. Buxton who entertained Morecambe in the second round last season. They're in the draw as well. So plenty of good non-league teams left in there. Wrexham probably the best known of the non-leaguers as well. As we saw earlier, as you may have seen on television earlier, beating a very sorry Oldham. It wasn't a shock by any means. I don't know where Ross got the shock element from it. Looked a foregone conclusion, but at the moment they scored early on, they were pretty good. Paul Boyd, I thought, was the man of the match, actually, to be fair, in that game. Watching the game myself and before prepping for this one today. But it's been one of those games. It's been a really interesting weekend of FA Cup action. Old Church, who won it, incidentally, Old Church, who did win at Cheltenham yesterday, are still the lowest ranked team left in the FA Cup this season. 67 minutes gone on the TCR. It's Torquay 1, Derby County 2. It's JB Johnston and Luke Turton with you in the commentary box. Russ Burnett is hosted from a very warm studio up in Yorkshire. We're freezing to death down here on the south coast as well puts the ball out for a goal kick. So 67 minutes gone, Luke. Is it just basically throw hell for leather for Torquay? Do Torquay just go for it, hell for leather now, throw the kitchen sink at it? They might as well with 10 men.
Yeah, they can do, but I think they're also just they're better off probably being a bit more composed about it and sticking to the plan. They know what they're going to do anyway in the game, and see if they can get another opening.
Well, if they could get level and get a replay at Derby, that would be another money spinner for them. Wouldn't guarantee them television, obviously, but a nice trip to a nice football ground for these Torquay supporters who have been through the mill over the years. Club battling financial difficulties. Even when they were in the Football League for many, many years, money was always tight. Still tight today. But the boost of a few quid from TV and Derby County coming, and they brought at least 1,000 or so supporters down from the East Midlands today, which is quite a long trip. It's about 500-mile round trip, really, from Derby to Torquay. They've got a free kick here. I know the Sunday as well. That's good backing from the Derby supporters. They won't be too pleased, however, that Conor Hurren's given us free kick on the edge, almost on the edge of the Derby penalty area for Torquay here. Down
Good run from Jarvis there, and I think if you just got to get this on target and see what happens.
Well, this is where you need Paul Gascoigne at this stage. Out of 1991 against Arsenal in that semi-final. Or Chris Waddle in 93. If you had one of those two players, you've always got a chance. But it is Stephen Byrne who's going to take it. Can he pull off the Gaza special and get the team back into it? It's right-footed. There's a four-man Derby wall, which, to be fair, doesn't look 10 yards away from the ball. A bit of a light-hearted conversation between the wall and David Rock, the referee there. Wall, to me, doesn't look 10 yards back. Maybe it's the angle of the camera. I'm not sure, but it's fair to take it. Just to the left of centre. Oh, he got it all wrong. Got the curl. He got the elevation to get it over the wall. Unfortunately, Luke, he just didn't have the dip or the accuracy to really trouble Joe Miles Smith in the Derby County goals.
There's something about that end and players getting the ball way over that crossbar.
I mean, we might as well be playing cricket in this weather. I mean, this would be tailor-made for somebody like Ben Stokes or Alex Hales in this sort of weather. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't play cricket in the rain. Of course, England, the cricketers are into the semi-finals of the 2020 tournament. They even knocked Australia out as well, even though Australia didn't even play yesterday because it ensured England's win over Sri Lanka. It ensured that Australia, the hosts, which is quite funny, really, couldn't go through in their own World Cup. You partial to a bit of cricket, Luke, during the summer?
I do watch it. I watched the game yesterday.
Yeah. Well, from being from where you are, you'll be a big Nottinghamshire fan. Of course, I'm a Lancashire man, and I'm still jacked off at the way Hampshire beat us in that 2020 final. I still think that was a bump ball, and I think that ball should have been done a third time. But there you go. It's 3 months ago. Get over it. Anyway, we're back with the game. Let's get back into the FA Cup. We've had about 19 minutes plus injury time to play, and here is number 2 on the ball. Crow chips the ball forward. Now, there's a big chance in there. Oh, it just wouldn't come out of Goodwin's feet. He just couldn't get it out of his feet. And if he just had and stabbed it goalwards, Torquay may have been in for something very, very special there, Luke. Real opportunity for them. They've got to keep believing that chances like these can happen in the next sort of 15 minutes or so.
He had to get that shot away first time. He tried to take too many touches, and his touch just wasn't great, and he went straight through to Wildsmith.
Also, what didn't help his cause really was the pitch conditions. The ball came at it at a rapid rate of knots, and because when you try to get the ball out of your feet in these conditions, it's very, very difficult. So the ball's greasing along on the top surface here. Pitch, which looked in immaculate condition at the start of play, now it's starting to cut up big time now. It's a throw, but well, there's not much mud. There's still a lot of green that's on the ground, but there's still quite a bit of mud now. It's cutting up in places now here at Playmore. It's a throw, not quite a throwback to 1972 when the great Ronnie Radford scored his rocket to help knock Newcastle out the FA Cup that season. And here is number 2 here on the ball. That's Crow, knocks the ball in forward. Is one of these guys in yellow going to have their Ronnie moment? Oh, they nearly had a Ronnie Radford. Well, not quite a Ronnie Radford moment there, but they had a chance. And De Silva came in at the back post. And I think there was a little flick on here. I'm just going to have a look before I bring you in. The ball was there, and there was a little flick from a Derby player which took it away from De Silva. And I'm not sure. There was another player going in as well, and it was number 9, Jarvis, as well. If the ball had deflected off Bird's head, then Jarvis was in for the equaliser.
Yeah, I think it may have even flicked off Forsyth's head.
Well, anyway, it's a corner. Played it towards the near post, and it comes away to 23 to brings it away. Ozura, but he's lost it. And here come Torquay. They're asking all the questions now as we go into the last sort of 17 minutes or so. Paul played in there. They are looking for that replay down or up at Pride Park. They can sense a possible replay and a possible few quid for the coffers, which will make Torquay's bank manager an awful lot happy about life if he wasn't happy already with this being on TV. Handball given, free kick to Derby County, which will release a little bit of tension from there. Handball by Goodwin, but tell you what, now we're in for some last quarter of an hour, because if Torquay can keep making chances, Derby, of course, have boasted stuff defensively. They've had to take attacking options off to accommodate defenders. It has the feeling for me, I don't know how you feel, Luke, that the game is going to be played exclusively now for the last quarter of an hour inside the Derby half. I think it's going to be Torquay flying at Derby now from this minute onwards to the end. It just has that feel about it.
Well, they'll certainly give it a good go, and I think that Derby will try and hit them on the counter. But yeah, I think Torquay will have to press on to try and get this goal.
Well, they might get a chance.
Competition.
And they might get a chance inside the area now. Oh, and it just wouldn't break. And then the shot comes in. It just wouldn't break for Jarvis inside the area. And it just will not drop. And then Lappy had a second go at the Cherry. But they're having more chances again. Quarter an hour to play. Torquay more than in this tie and playing against 10 men. Mark Holstead, we haven't mentioned his name too much. He's been a virtual spectator this second half. Despite the second one going past him, here is Asher Hall, Asa Hall, sorry. The man who got Torquay back in it with that penalty kick. Ball played forward, but well defended again by Lewis Ness. Oh, Lucas Ness, I should say, not Lewis. Lucas. Can't read my own handwriting. Well, I am getting to that age where life begins at big 4-0 me. You can tell I'm giving my age away a little bit. Anyway, here's the Derby change. As Paul Ward looks to shore things up here. And it's the goal scorer of 2, Ozula, who is going to be withdrawn. Terrifically taken after 27 minutes and now 46 minutes. Got the second one, which looked to put Derby's patches through to the next round, but not yet. And on in his place will be Liam Thompson, number 16. Here come Torquay looking for another break here. They can get another goal here. And hold on, they will be in for a muddy spinning replay at Pride Park. Ball lifted in there. And the goalkeeper stayed at home and the header came in. And it was Hall again, the captain, steaming in. Just couldn't get any purchase look on the header. But Torquay now, with about 14 minutes to go, are forcing the issue here. Have they got enough time to get that equalising goal, I wonder?
Well, they've definitely got enough time because there's still another 13, 14 minutes left and they're really, really pushing at Derby. So, yeah, I think they've got enough time to get an equaliser. Whether they do or not, again, we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, and the other factor, Luke, is that we also might have at least 4 minutes of stoppage time. There usually is at the end of every second half these days. So there may be a fair amount of stoppage time. All depends on how much time wasting Derby do now with the remaining 13 minutes or so. We'll just have to wait and see, but they've still got a good little chunk of normal time and maybe a small chunk of stoppage time to force this replay, if there is to be one. But whatever happens, they've given it a really good goal today, and they should be applauded for that. But here's Lewis Dobbin for Derby. Dobbin shoots, and that's a terrific save by Holstead. He was backpedaling. Didn't quite catch it, but he did the next best thing, palmed it away for a corner, which you have to do. If you can't catch it, make sure you palm it round the post. And that's exactly what Holstead did there. Good effort there from Dobbin.
Yeah, good effort and good save.
Just do the basics as a goalkeeper when you're goalkeeping training. I used to be a goalkeeper when I was in my youth. Didn't play to any great standard, but that's the first rule. If you can't catch it, at least turn it round the post as the corner comes in. And it's hooked away once more, and the ball played away. And it will be a Torquay throw with 78 3/4 minutes played. We're inside the last 12 1/4 minutes, plus stoppage time, of course. Torquay have no time to waste. They've got to get it forward. They nearly fell behind 3-1, but Halstead made a really good save and has kept the goals in the game, and they're going to get another chance here. Here's Donnell. Here's the ball comes in from Donnellan, and he might get a second bite, Donnellan. He plays it to Hall. Hall looks forward. It's still Torquay. Pressure this goal. Ball played in. Header miscued by Goodwin. And in the end, Joe Wildsmith gets the ball and catches it. And in fact, I think the referee has given a free kick to Derby. Has he given a free? I don't know. As we look across towards the main stand of Bristol's bench. It's been a chilly afternoon down by the English Riviera. But I tell you what, it's been a proper cup tie, and it's been an absolute thrill, a minute to bring you on the TCM and all platforms. My first game back since surgery on a hernia, and I actually kind of feel good. I know my stomach still hurts a little bit. Still got a few stitches in the old belly button area. But I just want to thank at this stage, before carrying on with the commentary, to everybody that sent me great well wishes, and I know you have as well, Luke. So I do thank you for that. And it's good to know that I've got so many good friends out here on the TC Hub. It's really good to know we're a close-knit community as commentators on this TC Hub. We're one big happy family. So a big thank you to everybody on the TC Hub that's wished me well over the last week or so. It really does mean a lot personally for me. And so 10 minutes to play then in this cup tie. Gary Johnson's side very much in this game. There's no doubt about it. They're against 10 men, of course. Cashing the man sent off. Let me just remind you, if you've just joined us very, very late, where have you been for the last 80 minutes? We've missed you. Anyway, I can tell you that if Sergio scored 2 goals either side of half-time, that put his goal after 27 put Derby ahead at half-time. They're just taking a few drinks, Derby players. No substitutions, by the way. And then Azura scored after 27 minutes. That was the score at half-time. Then he scored again 2 minutes into the second half. And then with about 63 minutes gone, Torquay got a penalty when Goodwin's shirt was tugged. Aaron Cashy was sent off on the day in David Roxby because he felt he was the last man, although Craig Forsyth was a covering defender. And Asa Hall smashed home the penalty. And they've had a few good chances, Torquay, since then. But still trail 2-1 with 81 and a half minutes gone. Get your thinking cap on late because we're getting about 6 or 7 minutes closer to that Player of the Match award. And I should tell you that the Player of the Match award for the second season of coverage here on the TC Hub is sponsored by Barry Swain's Commentary Services. Just to remind you that we have Bracknell Town against Ipswich Town, the winners of 1978, on the TC Hub tomorrow evening with Nicholas Jones. Join him at around about 7:35, 7:45 kickoff for that one tomorrow night. That's your next installment of first round FA Cup action. And of course, if there's any replays, then we'll bring them to you a week in a week and a half's time on the TC Hub. So stay tuned. Even after tomorrow, it won't be the end of the first round action. And of course, in less than 2 weeks' time, the World Cup in Qatar will be in place. They'll be live in the late commentaries of most of the games. We're aiming to bring you all the games. If we don't worry. We'll bring you all the games that matter across the tournament for you on the TC Hub. There's myself, Russ Bernard, Luke, who's as a co-commentator. Mike Hardiman's going to be joining us. Paul James is going to be there too. Plenty of familiar voices as the ball comes in from Torquay. They're not finishing yet. Shot comes in. Oh, just wide. Just wide of the target. I'm not sure who hit that one, but it was Donnellan who hit it with the right foot, Luke. And if that had gone another inch the other side, then we might have been looking at a 2-2 game.
That was a brilliant shot that just whistled past the post. I think that was close.
I think that got a deflection, a Forsyth. Yeah. But a goal kick has been given in any case, but I don't know. He could have struck that any true if he tried it 99 times out of 100. It was just an absolute shot full of ferocity. And I tell you what, if it hadn't, even though it wasn't a goal corner, if he hadn't whizzed up a little bit of Craig Forsyth's anatomy, I think that might have been crashing in off the career and in off the post. It did. I do honestly think that. And Torquay, with 6 minutes plus stoppage time to go, are still in this ball as the game is. Ellis plays the ball into the deep inside Derby territory. Don Allen wants a throw in, but it's going to be a Derby throw in. And that will be a relief to Paul Ward's side, who know whatever happens now, they know they've been in the game today. There's no doubt about that. It's been a remarkable match to watch, commentate on, and enjoy. But at the moment, it's going the way of the League One side, who are 7th currently at start of play. Torquay 24th in the National League. A number of massive places between them. 37 places I make it between them in the pyramid. Or maybe more than that, actually. Probably about 42, 43 places in the pyramid But I tell you what, there's not been too much difference, even if there are 40-odd places between them in the pyramid. It's been a very close game. 5 minutes of normal time to go. Torquay are still in this game. I don't know this by any means. Ball comes in, it's over the top and into the stand for a goal kick. Well, 5 minutes to go now. Surely Torquay have got to have another chance in that time. Surely, Luke. They've got to.
There's at least time for at least 4 more, if not 2.
Very optimistic, our co-commentator there for Torquay's chances. Plus, we've got stoppage time as well to come. We don't know how long there's going to be there. I think, to be honest with you, my guess would be at least 3 or 4 minutes. Don't think we've had too many stoppages from memory. But it's up to, at that point, it'll be up to at least Wobbly to tell us how long there's going to be. I have to say it's been a lot more free-flowing. I think Damien Rock has tried to let things go a bit better than he did in the first half. Almost a collision between the ball and the cameraman as Torquay get the throw. Right down on the near side, almost in line with the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. Are we going to see a long throw here from Crow? Looks like we are. Crow's going to take the throw. Now he's going to go short. Ball played back to Crow on the overlap. On the left-hand side, Crow's crossed. A bit too deep, perhaps. But Torquay keep it alive. Danella playing it in. And the overhead kick, he might break. Oh, he just won't break for Torquay inside that area. Derby get bodies back. But still, De Silva goes on the break. Still might fall in there. And he still won't break. And the ball just won't bounce for them. Here's the shot now over the top of the stand. The shot from Crow, right-footed. And he just had to keep it and down. He may have been leaning back as he struck it. And rising all the time. But another gilt-edged chance goes begging for Torquay. And I think they had 3 or 4 in those scrambles as well to try and prod the ball goalwards, Luke. What an opportunity.
Yeah, there were about 3 or 4 in there. And I think Derby just throwing their bodies at everything. They're just really committed to this 2-1. They want to see it out. And they're really putting their bodies on the line for it.
Well, you have to when you're down to 10 men in this business. It's fast and furious, this football business, especially when you're in the early rounds proper of the FA Cup. We'll have coverage of every round on the TCM, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, quarterfinals, semis, and final for you this season. And most of the games will be live, some will be delayed, but you'll get the true flavour of the FA Cup now in its 151st season. As Jarvis gets another corner now, another chance for Torquay. I'll be turning to my commentator to my right, Luke Turton, for his player of the match in a second. As this corner comes in, and Wildsmith gets a good fist on that. Comes to De Silva, who shoots into the crowd. Still not away yet. Still might break for Torquay. Derby getting out. And still, Torquay plod on again. Here's Vern. Vern now uses Crow. Crow to get it into the box once again. The heads go up. Oh, and it just would not break. They appeal a penalty in there. Well, they won the second penalty. They're not going to get it. I think it's going to be a corner. And when we see out this next set play, I'm going to ask Luke Turton, our commentator, for player of the match. Well, I'm not sure whether you could give a handball for that. It was a bit of a crowd seed in there. It came off the top of the head anyway. So it was never going to be a penalty. And I'm on for Sundays. In fact, the corner didn't come to much. And in fact, Derby get the goal kick. So Luke Turton, our co-commentator, what a job you've got now. I want you to choose your player of the match, sponsored by Commentary Services, and who it's going to be. And why?
I'm going to go for Willa Sula because of his goals and this link-up play, and I've been really impressed with him.
Well, let's see where you're going for. I have to say, he's also the television man of the match. But a few good reasons there from Luke Turton why he's our player of the match, sponsored, of course, by Commentary Services. He also gets the double whammy, well, not the double whammy, but the double joy of the TV man of the match, but he gets our supplementary award sponsored by Commentary Services. Willasoa, our player of the match. But I'm sure there's a few people in Torquay that may well warm now then. Another corner for Torquay. We're having a finish and a half here. Steven had to turn that behind for a corner. We're now in the last 15 seconds of normal time here at Playmore in this first round cup tie. Are we going to see a late show and possible replay for Torquay, or a slip there and a goal kick to Derby County. De Silva just losing his footing, and now the greasy turf is making it to be a slippery surface. 4 added minutes, as I predicted. No surprises there, Luke, that we're going to have 4 added minutes at the end of this.
I think that's the go-to score, number, isn't it? 4.
Nobody easy. A lot of games I cover, that's for sure. But there you are. Ghost kick to be taken by Wildsmith. So I think Derby may well have to endure another couple of scares from Torquay potentially here at the end of this. I'll tell you what, it's been a jungle for them out there. Speaking of which, the proper jungle starts tonight in Australia. In our celebrity. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't like to be Boy George playing in this tonight. I'll tell you that for free. Yeah, I think he'd probably find eating snake's anus a lot more appetizing than having to defend against this very direct Torquay side at this moment in time. Ball knocked forward into the Derby area, but Joe Wildsmith takes possession now and can pick the ball up, and we'll waste a little bit of time. We've had 1 of the 4 minutes, still 3 to go. Well, I'll tell you what, though, when you look back at the final analysis, I think Torquay have given it a really good go. They just haven't had the breaks. Their dominance in the last half an hour or so since the sending off and the penalty goal as deserved. But Paul Wald's team have had to fight so hard at the end. But there's still time yet for Torquay if they can get one last chance. Remember a few years ago when Rochdale played Spurs, they were down and out, it seemed, in the 5th round, and then they got a late goal. I remember doing that for JB Sports that day, and it was one of the greatest moments I've ever done commentating on FA Cup football. But there's still a chance here. The ball chipped forward there by Jarvis, the top scorer with joint top scorer with 4, but he can't be found again. And now here's a chance for Dobby, but he's been penalised. And Dobby's going to get a yellow card, presumably for fouling or for time wasted of some kind. The yellow card's been given. In fact, it's a free kick the other way to Derby County with 2 minutes of 4 to go. It's Ellis who's got the yellow card rather than Lewis Dobbin. Well, I'm not sure whether that was a yellow card offence. I've got to be honest there. Mark Ellis did go in very hard, but I don't think he got too much of the man there, Luke.
Yeah, that was debatable, but maybe it's just an accumulation of ones he's done during the game. You don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Accumulation of cards. Free kick now to Torquay. And they haven't got time to waste it. I'm sure now the referee will be telling Collins, I won't be any time on for this, son. He is liable after the 4 minutes. And I should stress at this point that when the 4 minutes was posted on the fourth official's board, it's a minimum of ball will run out of play before Stephen Verne can get there. He's had a good second half there, it has to be said. So we've got about 45 seconds of the 4. Just stress it's a minimum of. David Rock can have time on of his own steam at the end of this game. Smith with the throw for Derby. It's been one of those proper cup tie games. We might not have seen a shock today, but what we've seen is a good committed cup tie by 2 sides who have really had to battle hard, whatever the result. Here's the throw to be taken by Crow. We'll get Wilkes Buse at full time now. Ellis will pump the ball forward into the area. This is the last chance, surely now. The heads go up. It's a corner kick. This has got to be the last chance. Goodwin should stay forward for this. Ellis will go forward. Him and the goalkeeper, Halstead, he may as well go forward. It's the last kick, basically. Now, what a turn up for the books this would be if Halstead was to score. That would really write himself into FA Cup fairy tales. Halstead is practically unmarked. They don't mark the goalkeeper normally. Here comes the ball, and it's a poor corner, if I'm truth be told. And the ball comes out. We're now way past the 4 minutes. Halstead flicks on. It might break in there for Torquay. 2-3 shots. It's there! It's there for Torquay! They've equalised with the last kick of the game! The magic of the cup is well alive and kicking. I don't know who scored it, but Torquay are level. And what scenes of joy for Gary Johnson's men. They were 2-0 down and seemingly out of it at one point. They're back level with the last kick, and Halstead's presence may have caused confusion in the Derby ranks. And I don't know who got the last touch. There's people on the pitch, Luke Turton. This is what the FA Cup is all about. Torquay 2, Derby County 2.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, I said to you that there would be at least one or two more shots and chances, and it's that never say die attitude. Derby were constantly getting put under pressure, and eventually it just told.
Goodwin got the last touch, I think. Oh, my word. What a finish. What a finish. The ball hooked back in there again. Alsted caused all the confusion. The shot came in and it came off Goodwin last. I'm certain of it. And it's 2-2. We've had a game to remember here for a very long time. And it's been one of those days where it's just been a magical thing. Just for the moment the Derby defender got sent off, it's going to be a replay at Pride Park in a week and a half's time. I'm not even sure if the final whistle's gone, to be perfectly honest, but this is why we love the FA Cup. This is why we love the game. It's still going on. We're 2 minutes over the 4. This is unbelievable. And Goodwin now goes to 5 goals this season. And that was the last kick of what's been a truly epic game of football, FA Cup football here at Plainmoor. Derby County looked to have had it in the bag after 50-odd minutes when Asua scored a brace to give him a 2-0 lead. They were leading 1-0 at the break thanks to his goal in the 27th minute. He scored after 47. Then the game changed to the penalty. Was it a red card for Cashin? Well, only Paul Warren will know that. We'll have to hear what he says in the post-match interview. But then the penalty dispatched terrifically well by Hall down the middle. And then Goodwin, with practically the last kick of the game, sent Plainmoor into pandemonium. What a finish, Russ. You can't get much better in the FA Cup than that. It's a replay at Pride Park in a week on Tuesday or Wednesday. It's finished here in an epic first round FA Cup game. Russ, Torquay United 24th in the National League 2. Derby County 7th in League 1-2. And it's a replay at Pride Park.
Thank you very much to JB and to Luke Turton for the excellent commentary this afternoon. Fantastic game of football ends in a draw, and a replay is what is needed for Torquay and Derby County in the FA Cup. We're running through some of the latest scores. Some of the scores from earlier on today in the Premier League. We will not tell you the latest score between Tottenham and Liverpool due to having delayed coverage of that game tomorrow. So earlier on in the Premier League today finished Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1, Southampton 1, Newcastle United 4, West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 2. In the FA Cup then earlier today, I think it's a shock. JB doesn't think so. Wrexham 3, Oldham 0, Curzon Ashton 0, Cambridge 0. That goes to a replay as well. Woking in Oxford, match postponed due to a waterlogged pitch earlier today. And a fantastic game here. Torquay 2, Derby County 2. In Premier League 2, Arsenal 3, Everton 1. This is the under-21s league, guys. Blackburn Rovers 1, Brighton Hove Albion 2. Liverpool 3, Fulham 1. In the Women's Super League, Leicester 0, Arsenal 4. Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 1. Reading 0, Manchester City 3. The game between Tottenham and Everton was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. You think we've had a good game here? What about this for a game? Down in the game between West Ham and Brighton, and the London stayed earlier today in the game between West Ham women and Brighton. West Ham 1-0 up on 3 minutes. Brighton then racing to a 3-1 lead at half time. It was then brought back to 3-2. on the 60th minute. It was then 5-2 to Brighton after 71 minutes. Full time score after goals were on 84th and 86th minute sees the game finish. West Ham United 4, Brighton and Hove Albion 5 in the Women's Super League. Late kick-off sees Manchester United take on Chelsea at the Lee Sports Village. In the Women's Championship, Durham 1, Charlton 2, Blackburn 1, Sunderland 0, London City Lionesses 3, Birmingham City 2, Crystal Palace, Sheffield United and lose against Bristol City. Matches postponed due to waterlogged pitches in them two games as well. In the German Bundesliga, we'll go to in a minute. Let's remind you of the League N scores as the crowd have now all dispensed now as we'll just run you through the League N results is Lyon 1, PSG 2, Clermont 1, Montpellier 1, Nice 1, Brest 0, Reims 1, Nantes 0, Toulouse 0, Monaco 2, and at half time is Lille 1, Rennes 0, and later at 7:45 is Marseille against Lyon. In the German Bundesliga finished Bayer Leverkusen 5, Union Berlin 0, and is Freiburg 0, FC Cologne 0. In the Italian Serie A, Bologna 2, Torino 1, Monza 2, Hellas Verona 0, Sampdoria 0, Fiorentina 2. 2 minutes gone in the game between AS Roma and Lazio. That is goalless. And later in Serie A, Juventus take on Inter. In the Scottish Premiership, St Johnstone 2, Rangers 1, Hearts 3, Motherwell 2. Hearts finished the game with 10 men in that one. In Spanish La Liga is Atletico Madrid 1, Espanyol 1. It is 86 minutes gone. Is Real Sociedad 1, Valencia 1. Villarreal take on Mallorca at 5:30, while Betis take on Sevilla at 8 o'clock. In the Liga Portugal, Rio Avenue 1, Boavista 0. 75 minutes gone there. At 6 o'clock is Braga against Sepia, Maritimo against Flamengo, and at 8:30 is Estoril against Benfica. In the Dutch Eredivisie, 3 full-time scores, 2 latest scores to give you. The full-time scores: Utrecht 2, Groningen 1, FC Voldem 0, Feyenoord 2, FC Twente 1, Go Red Eagles 1. All your results. 2 latest scores: Ajax 0, PSV Eindhoven 2, Valvek 1, AZ Alkmaar 1. 61 minutes gone to Ajax, 65 minutes gone to Valvik. In La Liga, I've gone through that, so that's all your latest scores to tell you about right now. You may wonder why I've not mentioned the game between Tottenham and Liverpool. That game you'll be able to hear in full audio commentary on the channels tomorrow afternoon before we bring you the FA Cup, final FA Cup tie of round one, which is Bracknell Town against Ipswich Town, our last one of FA Cup round one in the of our alternative commentaries. Let's bring you back in now, your co-commentator Luke Turton. And Luke, fantastic coverage from yourself and JB. What did you make to the game as a whole, and do you think a draw overall and a replay was a fair result?
I thought it was a really good game, to be honest, Russ. Torquay gave it a really good go. They really did deserve to get that second goal. I think the red card changed it. It was a little bit debatable, but it definitely changed the complexion of the game because Derby were dominating for that. And maybe if there was 11 men on the field, then Paul Warren wouldn't have made the subs he did. But these things happen in football, and I just thought the more and more Torquay put balls into the box, the more and more they were going to have a chance of nicking the the game at the end, and that's what they did. They got that second goal and forced a replay.
Yes, and JB mentioned in commentary as well that he thought Mark Alstead going up for that late corner for Torquay United probably put the Derby County defenders, or the entire team who was bad there for Derby at that point, pulled them off in that when he came up for that last minute corner. Do you think his presence in the box put it put the Derby team under a bit of pressure and pull them off a little bit?
I think it's more the fact for us that if you've got everybody inside the box, Torquay are going to have an extra man because they've got Derby and a man sent off. So the goalkeeper goes up. There's one player that they can't mark. So at which point it makes it slightly easier for the Torquay players to find an opening and try and force the goal.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're Paul Warne in there, look, obviously you and JB both said the red card was debatable. I think it was debatable as well. I can see why he's given it. Maybe they didn't think Forsyth would get back in time, and he was about to pull the trigger when he had his shirt pulled, and I can see why Evan Cashin got sent off for Derby County today. But like I say, it was debatable because the Forsyth were there. Maybe the officials didn't think Forsyth could get back. Overall, then, Luke, looking at the game as a whole, which manager you think would be the happier? 'Cause for me, I think it'd be Gary Johnson to be the happier of the two managers after his side came from 2-0 down to earn a replay and go to Pride Park in around 10 or so days' time.
It's got to be Gary Johnson. I mean, Paul Warren's side have just let a 2-1 lead slip in the in stoppage time. I mean, he'll be absolutely gutted at that, and I'm sure he'd have wanted his side to hold out for them extra couple of minutes. But it's difficult when you go down to 10 men. Prob as I think unjustly going down to 10 men. So it does get incredibly difficult after that moment because you have to make subs that you probably weren't going to make before, and ultimately it has cost them their place at the minute because they're going to have to battle it out again. And it's an extra game that now both of these sides are going to have to play. And I mean, they showed brilliant moments in the game Derby, but they didn't take their chances enough. They had loads of chances in the first half and it only went off at 1-0. Second half, they had the one chance that they scored from and then really struggled after the red card. Torquay had a lot of chances then. So really, it was a game where the chances all came at the same end.
Yes, all majority of the chances came at the end where the Derby fans were behind that goal, and just looking at this angle here from what the referee's looking at, and for me, the referee probably couldn't see Forsyth was getting back to cover, and I think that's probably why Erin Cashkin got sent off in the end, having just seen the replay from the referee's angle, what the referee was looking at on my monitor here in my studio today. So I think when you look at the game overall, I think Torquay probably you would have to say on the balance of play towards the back end. Probably the red card did change it, but towards the end you'd have to say the red card potentially did change it. But Torquay were, for me, I felt that Torquay did create a lot more than Derby towards the end, and probably just deserved to get through and deserved to win it, in my opinion, towards the end. And I think they were unlucky not to get a winner, probably unlucky not to get another penalty towards the end as well, which I think he could have been given another penalty towards the end, but the referee didn't think so. So we have to move on. So just want to say thank you there to Looking. Just before we do wrap up, obviously you gave Will Sula man of the match or player of the match today, Luke, and he took both of his goals. He took both of his goals really, really well, didn't he, Luke? And he's proving to be a good player for Derby County. And I think you'll probably be saying this through gritted teeth with you being a Nottingham Forest fan.
Not at all. I watched the game today and I was really impressed with him. I think his hold-up play is brilliant. He he reminds me a little bit of a Keenan Davis, where he can get the ball, he can run at players, he can hold players off, and his finishing was top draw today. I don't have any kind of thingy about saying when a player plays well. He played well today, and I think if it wasn't for the red card, he'd have probably stayed on and affected the game even more. But when you go to down to 10 men, they take off the offensive players, try and hold on to what they've got, and unfortunately, wasn't possible today.
Yes, thank you very much there to Luke Turton and also our match commentator JB. Very good coverage today. So that's all we've got time for here on the commentary hub, the home of alternative commentary this afternoon. A fantastic game ends with a replay then. Derby County were 2-0 up at one stage, but Torquay fought back through a penalty and the last gasp goal from Goodwin, Will Goodwin, as they earn a replay against Derby County in the FA Cup, is finished in our featured game from the FA Cup today. Torquay United 2, Derby County 2. Look out on the channels tomorrow. We bring you delayed coverage of the Tottenham against Liverpool game, and also we'll bring you the coverage of the FA Cup match between Bracknell Town and Ipswich Town as well, with Nicholas Jones. Sean Kelly will be your man covering Tottenham against Liverpool. But for myself, Russ, from your commentary team of Luke Turton and JB, John Stuttard, thank you. We thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon, and we really hope you've enjoyed our coverage. From myself, Luke, JB, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more live FA Cup action.